like to call the meeting to order. Special council meeting, call to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Zinjan. Ms. Renee.
Here.
Mr. Wardell.
Here.
Mr. Kosis.
Here.
Mrs. Woods. Mr. Calhoun.
Here.
Mayor Brown.
Here.
No absent.
Everybody please join me in I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Those requirements of Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, have been satisfied by publication of said news in the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster, and by filing a copy with the Deputy Municipal Clerk. First order of business is public participation on agenda items. Does anyone from the public wish to be heard on agenda items? Yes, sir. You state your name, your record.
Joel Popkin. I see all these, and I understand it's the right of the majority of the council to make all these appointments, and there's no question about that. I do have a couple of questions though. I see the resolutions and very well written resolutions. I want to know who prepared the resolutions, because don't take this wrong, any of you up there, I don't think that any of you are qualified to do this or have the ability to do that, and I was just wondering, without an administrator or an attorney, who prepared these? That's the first question. I don't know.
I can't help you with that, Mr.
I did, Mr. Popkin. I'm Gregory Cannon, the law firm Silverhahn and Cannon.
Okay.
I've been assisting Councilwoman Renee, Councilman Coxis, Calhoun, and Councilman Lewis. I drafted the resolutions.
Okay. Now I know that this is a resolution offering a contract, for all these people. The question is that has everyone on the governing body been aware of the contents of what's going to be in the contract, such as the financial matters and the hours and everything else, all the details of a contract before these resolutions are adopted?
I have not had a contract. I've read the RFQs for each of the professionals, and every one of them are professionally qualified.
I'm not questioning people's qualifications.
No, the professional quality. That's what I've taken. And but I haven't seen a contract,
right,
an actual contract to sign. No.
I was just concerned because it's a procedural thing. I know that RFPs come in or RFQs come in, then a contract is developed, and then again, I was wondering if I guess you also develop the contracts?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I agreed to do the job for 20% less than Mark was doing it for. He was here for a long time, and I think he.
And I'm not, questioning anybody's price or anything like that. Believe me, I'm not here to question anyone's qualifications or their price. I'm just looking to make sure that, the right procedures being followed. That's all.
Right,
I don't want anyone to be in trouble if these are done and it's not right. And the third thing is, I noticed one for a bond counsel. And just one question, is this on a retainer basis or an hourly basis that you're going to be hiring a bond counsel? Or?
Mr. Popkin, we have never hired bond counsel here in Neptune City.
I know that, but that's in here right now to hire one.
I know, there's, and Mr. Cannon, I haven't seen anything presented to me officially that you'll work for 20% less than what?
Than what Mr. Akins is being paid.
Okay, so I don't know, like I said, I don't know who you made that.
Well, I assume that
agreement
after the
with.
in the ordinary course, particularly when I receive a resolution of appointment, I have 7 days under the law to submit a proposed contract for the governing body's approval, the administrator's approval. Whoever the resolutions designate the administrator with that authority, but it's sometimes the mayor, sometimes whoever negotiates, and you have to submit. In this case, you guys did an RFQ, so a lot of people submitted their legal requirements, like the certificate of employee information report, business registration, things like that. Typically, when you get the resolution of appointment as a professional, you have 7 days to send in all that stuff if it's a non-fair and open contract. So the governing body still has the option, if they don't like the prices proposed by these people, to say, we don't approve of that contract, but the professionals each have a certain period of time to at least give you price,
right,
more or less. And usually, I'll be honest with you, mostly the town says, and I don't know, I can only speak for myself, but when Council President Renee came to me, she said, Mark did the job for a long time. We think you should do it for less. And typically what the town says is, the last person got paid this is what you get paid, or you usually get a break if you change people, to be honest with you.
Okay. Thank you.
The answer to that question, though, is available whether it's an hourly basis or on a retainer.
For the bond counsel, only if there's a need.
So there's no retainer.
So that means there's no retainer, then it's just on an hourly basis that person's
If
being paid.
there's a need, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's,
There might not
and
be
that's
need.
how it, that's
No,
how.
the only reason I'm saying that is, Mayor
Better not
Brown
be-
said that there's never been a bond counsel in Neptune City. And I just didn't wanna, I didn't think it was appropriate to say, give someone a $5,000 retainer if they're not gonna be used for anything, type of thing. That's the point that I was making. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, just in response to Joel's question, I just was wondering, is this common that at every, because I don't know, but at every year, does everyone receive a copy of the contracts of all of the people? Is that what's generally done?
So what happens is, this is the first time that Neptune City's done this type of where we sent out RFQs by resolution. There was criteria to be met for each professional appointment. We had stacks of professionals apply this year, and that's how it normally goes, or doesn't normally go in Neptune City. We've done in the past, it's called a non-fair and open, where we can appoint somebody and the rate is, you can pick who you want. If somebody's rate's too high, you wouldn't pick them. I say Mark was pretty cheap for a long time, Mark Akins, and we would reappoint him each year. And with that, under the non-fair and open comes restrictions on the pay to play. There's a minimal amount of money that they're allowed to actually donate to a political organization that they're working for. As the fair and open is, it kind of takes that away. It really opens up the contributions from professionals, allows them to donate more money to a political group. Either way, the majority, even the way we did it before, I'll be honest with you, the way we used to do it, council could have did it this year. They could have appointed who they wanted anyway without going out and going through that whole process and having all the stacks of proposals and everything. They were rejecting the appointments on January 1st. Tonight they could have just came and appointed whoever they wanted if we were still under the non-fair and open. But under this process, it's just done a little differently.
May I respond to that as well, please?
Sure.
We actually did both with the fair and open process. On December 27th, we were all afforded the same information for all of the professionals to review and to reach out to. So we all had that information. It's all available to the public as well. But we added an extra clause on the second page, the last paragraph, number 3, that we're also adhering to the pay to play for the non-fair and open as well. So we did both for each of the professionals.
Thank you.
That's really the only difference. Like I said, either way, the majority you can basically pick who you want anyway. That's really the big difference.
Just the ladies, could I help you out, Mayor?
Sure.
Is that okay? So with respect to your questions, these professional appointments by law can only be made on an annual basis. So you cannot appoint a borough attorney for more than 1 year. You cannot appoint a bond counsel for more than 1 year. So to answer your question about the annually, it's done annually, and then every borough handles it different. Sometimes for example, I'm the borough attorney for Allentown. There, the mayor reviews every single contract. I'm also the borough attorney for Red Bank. There, the administrator reviews every single contract. So the practice of who actually looks at it is really just a matter of the borough, but the mayor accurately describes the laws to pay to play and the award.
That's pretty much it. I mean, you can, like I said, the majority can pick who they want. At the end of the day, it's the majority's going to, they can vote whoever, and it's not necessarily based on a cheaper rate or anything of that nature, because somebody could be really cheap but not have the experience. And, you know, I would prefer to pay a couple dollars more than to have somebody giving us bad advice or, you know. So there's a lot that goes in there. I'm sure that, and I know that every one of these professionals are qualified, as I said earlier, every one of them are qualified to do the job. It's just some of them on January 1st, I felt as mayor's appointments, and that's how it works, I felt what information I had, I made my recommendations to the council. Unfortunately, the majority disagreed with me, and that's why we're here tonight, and we will appoint the professionals. And as far as with the professionals, once they you know, they get a executed contract, they're required to do their job. And like I said, each one of them are more than qualified. I know Mr. Cannon is more than qualified
Thank you, Mayor.
to represent the borough as a borough attorney. He's not gonna give me bad advice, because I didn't pick him on January 1st, because his job is to represent me, the council, and Neptune City, to the best of his ability. So,
That's right, I represent the borough.
yeah, you represent the borough.
That's my first
which
thing out of my
all
mouth.
of us
I'll tell you all right
are
now,
part of.
I don't represent any of you individually. I
No,
represent the
but
borough.
you represent,
That's my first part of my
he
speech.
represents the borough. He can't give us bad advice.
Correct.
Or wrong advice, because,
That's right.
you know, he's professional. That's what, you know, he'll do his job. Same with an engineer and everyone else. They are more than qualified to do the job. So,
Thank you.
I hope that helps. Okay. Yes.
Jen Coombs, Citizen Media. What is a bond council? I never heard of that. I mean, what would you use that for?
So bond counsel would be if the borough wanted to go out and borrow a really large amount of money and spread it out over a really long time. So let me explain to you. Right now, Neptune City, we have no bonds. We have no long-term debt. All of our debt is funded 100%. There's nothing deficient. And we actually pay for everything in our capital improvement projects. So the way that works, the way we've done it for years, is we actually bond to ourselves. We borrow the money from ourselves. If we're going to do a project and I'm just gonna use, you know, just random numbers so it's easier. If we're gonna borrow $100,000 to do a project, maybe I got a $300,000 grant, and it's gonna cost the borough $100,000 to get $400,000 worth of work done in town. That $100,000 we would actually borrow from ourselves. So we would pay that off over 10 years. So we would do a bond anticipation note to ourselves, and every year we would put $10,000 back into the borough to cover that bond anticipation note. The other side, I say 10,000 because if we borrowed 100,000 and we're not paying interest to anybody, no bank or any other firm, it's $10,000. So but the bond council is, like you said, if you have a major project, everybody's familiar with the school project. I think it was like 7 million, 7.5 million we went out for. So they would get special counsel to review and handle that, to make sure that that bond is executed properly in our behalf. I have no intentions of ever recommending using a bond counsel. Never have, never did. I know the financial status in Neptune City, and there'd be no reason why that we would have to do that. But if they wanna appoint somebody, that's fine. That's their privilege. Okay?
Thank you.
Anyone else? Wow. All right. Seeing none, we'll move right to new business.
Mayor, I'd like to
Sure.
offer a resolution to amend the agenda. I would like to replace resolution number 1944 under its original wording to the new resolution that was just handed out.
Okay, that is offered by Mr. Wardell. Is there a second? Okay, doesn't go anywhere. Sorry, it's not amended. Resolution number 32.
Appointment of borough attorney. To read any more information to that?
Yeah, I would just read the name. And I'm gonna ask you, if you're here and we're appointing you or your firm, if you would please just, let us know who you are, if you're present. Thank you.
Resolution awarding a fair and open professional services contract for Borough Attorney to Gregory J. Cannon, Esquire of Sobel Han LLP.
We all know he's right there.
We need a motion.
And also, my law partner here is also as well, Andrew Silver.
Okay.
He's hiding over there.
I
but-
didn't want to sit by you.
I'll make a motion for resolution number 2019-32.
Offered by Ms. Renee,
Second.
second by Mr. Calhoun.
Mr. Zajac.
No, Mr. Zuzan.
Question?
Any questions?
Comment?
Yes. When we went out for RFQ, we received 3 bids, RFQs, all right?
Correct.
All right, and if I understand, and again, this doesn't mean that people are not qualified, but the RFQ was deficient, and was am I correct? It didn't have
Correct,
the
under
weight
the
in-
criteria.
Yeah, if I
they-
could address that for you guys. I've never responded to an RFP, to be honest with you, that had, usually the town tells you what they're paying you. So I neglected to put in an hourly rate because I
I'm sure
assumed that
it's
you guys would
obviously
tell me what, but frankly, Council President Renee called me and told me, we want, what 20% less, why don't you do less than Mark? And I said okay to that. But you have to forgive me, I didn't put an hourly rate in there because the town usually tells you, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
It's
and,
peculiar.
as I spoke to you earlier about it, it was in the criteria, the resolution that was presented by Ms. Renee and the majority to go out for RFQs. That was criteria that they presented. So when I got the criteria and I went through the proposals, I'm a public.
And it was prominent
I'm
as
a
well
public
in there,
contractor.
Brian,
I put a public bid in today, unfortunately didn't get it. And if we're deficient on something, we're disqualified. So I had one individual, and that's what I said a couple times, and that was the only reason. It had no other reason, other than I felt that was deficient. And in my opinion, I thought if I did appoint someone other than the one person, the one attorney that didn't meet all the criteria that was put forth in a resolution, there could potentially be a
And you
lawsuit.
didn't have a lawyer to help you out either. You did-
Right, and I had no attorney to say any, so, in my opinion, I can only recommend the firm that met the criteria in the resolution, so.
Unfortunately, that attorney was asking for more than what Mark Akins was being paid, so it didn't want to go.
Just out of curiosity, were the other attorneys contacted and gave the same deal? They gave 20% less, they could have the job?
Yes.
All right, I'll contact them and ask them, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Roll call.
Mr. Zajac is absent. Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Abstain.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion carried, thank you.
Thank you very much. I look forward to it.
Congratulations.
May I join you, Mayor?
Yeah, if your firm is okay with that, I mean,
Yeah,
if that's
absolutely. We have,
acceptable.
we're fully insured.
Okay. Hopefully you don't need it.
Thank you. Mr. Wardell, nice to meet you. How are you?
Excuse me. Next item is appointment of labor attorney. Resolution awarding a fair and open professional services contract for borough labor attorney to Michael M. DeChico, Esquire of Maggs and McDermott, LLC.
Would somebody like to offer that?
Offer resolution 19-34.
Offered by Mr. Kosis,
Second.
second by Mrs. Lewis. Are there any questions? Once again, I think it's, sorry, not from you, I can't. You missed your turn. This is council questions, I'm sorry. Again, this firm more than capable and competent to serve as a labor attorney. Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Zajac is absent. Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
That's
Yeah.
out of here. I'm sorry.
Motion carried.
I'm like crazy looking at this thing. Resolution is adopted. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, you had said if we were here to announce ourselves.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I wanted to just announce myself. I'm Michael DeSico. I want to thank the governing body for appointing me to Labor Council. I look forward to working with the governing body. Most importantly, I look forward to serving the residents of Neptune City as best I can. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'll make myself clear. After we give you your appointment, then introduce yourself. Sorry. Congratulations. Huh? You're good. Unless you wanted to talk.
Just give me, I missed my introduction because I was walking up, so. I'm Gregory Cannon from the law firm of Sobelhon & Cannon LLP. I'm the borough attorney as well for Red Bank, Allentown, and Roosevelt. You know, I selected for this position because I have a particularized skill, and you can call down to the former Republican mayor of Allentown, the former Democratic council president, and the independent current mayor. I specialize in governing bodies that are split or have conflict amongst them, in setting procedures and policies so that everyone feels that they're being treated fairly, that everyone has an opportunity to at least get their way. I never promise anyone that you're going to get your way at the council meeting, but I promise you at least have the procedure there to get your way or get a vote. You may very well lose, but that's the deal. And in those kind of situations, it's important to protect the rights of the minority from the majority, and to also make sure the majority is within the guidelines. So that's what I specialize in. If you go read the newspaper about Roosevelt and half their governing body resigning, I'm the guy that helped put that back together. If you read in Allentown or their newspaper from the consternation at their council meetings and craziness and police called and things, I'm the guy that helped put that back together. So I look forward to bringing that expertise here in Neptune City and helping everyone get along and follow procedures, and at least everyone feel like they're being treated fairly. That's what I'm here to do, and I hope we have a good time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr.
Appointment of bond counsel. Resolution awarding a fair and open professional services contract for Borough Bond Counsel to Lisa Gorab, Esquire of Walentz, Goldman, and Spitzer, PA.
Thank you. Would somebody like to offer that?
I'll offer that.
Offered by Ms. Lewis,
Second.
second by Ms. Renee. Are there any questions?
Just a statement, Mayor. Again, I don't think it's necessary to appoint a bond counsel. We haven't gone out to bond before. I don't think it should be even an option that we should put on the table, even to tempt ourselves. If everybody's read the paper to see the trouble that Belmar is in right now because of bonds, I think it's something that, if we ever needed to, it wouldn't be a problem to go find bond counsel. But I think since we don't have a need for it, it wouldn't be necessary to appoint one tonight.
Thank you. Roll call.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
No.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Thank you.
Appointment of Borough Prosecutor.
Alternate.
Is this alternate or is this?
No, this is regular one.
Regular.
Resolution awarding
All right.
a fair and open professional services contract for Borough Prosecutor to Michael R. Burns, Esquire of Grace Marmero and Associates, LLP.
Thank you. Would somebody like to offer that?
I'll offer that.
Offered by Mr. Calhoun,
Second.
second by Mr. Kosis. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Thank you.
Now we have alternate prosecutor. Resolution awarding a fair and open professional services contract for alternate borough prosecutor to James D. Carton, IV, Esquire of the Carton Law Firm, LLC.
So offered.
Offered by Ms. Renee,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Lewis. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosi?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Thank you.
appointment of public defender. Resolution awarding fair and open professional services contract for Borough Public Defender to Raymond A. Rea Esquire of Rea Law LLC.
Thank you. Would somebody like to offer that?
Offer.
Offered by Mr. Kosis,
Second.
second by Ms. Renee. Are there any questions? I'll just make one quick statement that, you know, anything involving the courts, is, at the end of the day, is really, you know, is approved by the courts also. We can't just appoint whoever we want. We can, but we can't. And, you know, the court, really answers, although they work for the Borough of Neptune City, they answer to, Supreme Court. And that's actually Judge Thornton is in charge of that. So, everybody does a wonderful job, and I want to thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Alternate public defender. A resolution awarding a fair and open professional services contract for alternate public defender to Raymond S. Santiago Esquire of Santiago and Associates, P.C.
Thank you. Would somebody like to offer that?
So offered.
Offered by Mrs. Lewis,
Second.
second by Mr. Calhoun. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. Thank you.
Borough Auditor, a resolution, excuse me, awarding a fair and open professional service contract for Borough Auditor to Charles J. Fallon, CPA of Fallon and Company LLP.
Thank you. Would somebody like to offer that?
So offered.
Offered by Ms. Renee,
Second.
second by Mr. Kosis. Are there any questions? I'll just make a statement. This auditor is for the year 2019. Holsart and Holsart is actually in the process of, you know, they were hired the year prior to prepare the audit. So for the 2018 audit, it's still Holsart and Holsart. For the 2019 audit, it will be the new firm. Mr. Fallon. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Borough Engineer. Resolution awarding a fair and open professional services contract for Borough Engineer to Susan Bracefield, P.E. of Major Consulting, P.A.
Thank you. Would somebody like to offer that?
So offered.
Offered by Ms. Renee,
Second.
second by Mr. Calhoun. Are there any questions?
Just a comment, the vacuum firm has been our engineer for quite some time, they've done a fantastic job here at the borough. I don't quite understand why we need to change this. I'm okay with the other ones, I'm not okay with this one. I don't think we get the attention to detail that we've received from the vacuum firm, and I'll have to vote no on this one there.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
No.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Mayor, I'm Susan Bracefield.
Oh.
Thank you very much for the appointment.
Hi, thank you. I kind of lost that because none of the public defenders or the attorneys, none of them were jumping out of their seats tonight.
Borough Planner, a resolution awarding a fair and open professional services contract for Borough Planner to Stuart Weiser, PP of ARH Associates.
Thank you. Would somebody like to offer that?
So,
Offered by Mr. Kosis,
Second.
second by Ms. Renee. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Thank you. If I may, Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Stuart Weiser. I want to thank you for the appointment, placing your trust in our firm, and hope to roll up our sleeves and work with you closely.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Special Projects Engineer. A resolution awarding a fair and open professional services contract for a special project engineer to Peter R. Avakian, P.E. of Leon S. Avakian Incorporated.
Somebody like to offer that?
So offered.
Offered by Ms. Renee,
Second.
second by Ms. Lewis. Are there any questions? I think it's a very good choice to keep Vakian on as a special projects engineer. They've been very involved in every bit of Neptune City's progress over many years. They also are the land use engineer for the borough also.
One more comment on that too is, I met with Peter Avakian, and he said they work with Mazer and ARH quite a bit and on different projects, and they work well together. And that was also the reasoning is for the cross engineers is just to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row and everybody's working together well for all the different projects.
Very good, thank you. Roll call.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
This is for Mr. Avakian?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted, thank you.
Insurance consultant. Resolution awarding a fair and open professional services contract for Borough Insurance Consultant to Alamo Insurance Group, Inc.
Would somebody like to offer that?
So offered.
Offered by Mr. Calhoun,
Second.
second by Mrs. Lewis. Are there any questions? I actually have it was recommendation last year, even prior to this, actually way into last year, that, you know, the borough had switched to state health benefits. And the state, you know, we're awarded through state health benefits, we're given a separate consultant now which is part of our state health, state health benefits. They actually discourage having an additional consulting. We had done it at the beginning when we switched from regular standard health insurance to the state health benefits, and just for the transfer over the amount of money that the borough was saving in switching to state health benefits and having a consultant at the time to avoid litigation and grievances with the police department, public works. But, you know, as I stated earlier, and even last year, this is really something I believe we do not need. The state is not really in favor of you having additional consultant, but that's just my opinion. Roll call, please.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
No.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Resolution appointing Brian Russell, RPPS, QPA, as Borough Administrator, Deputy Clerk, and Treasurer.
Would somebody like to offer that?
So offered.
Offered by Mr. Calhoun,
Second.
second by Ms. Renee. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a few. One, can somebody tell me when interviews were conducted to hire Mr. Russell?
Most of the interviews were done on December 29th before there was a quorum.
before it was advertised?
Correct.
So wait, we're doing open and fair, how are we interviewing people before we advertise for them?
This is not a professional service
Okay.
position, it's an appointment, and we did want to keep all of our options open and
So
see who else might be available.
when we say we, who's we? Because this is the first time I saw his name was yesterday. So who's the we that interviewed made the decision? Because it says here, the governing body, so the council made a decision. I didn't even know who this person was until today.
The council majority.
So the four made it, okay. I knew nothing about this, Mayor. I don't know who this person is. I understand we're still getting applications for this position. It was advertised for a week.
I agree.
So I don't understand why we advertised if it was on the 29th.
I'm going to make a last recommendation. In my opinion, I will ask the majority to consider changing the resolution a little bit. Does not affect who gets hired, the hire date, anything else, except there's some wording that I believe is in, and that's why I created this resolution in place of the one that is on the record for tonight. So I will go on the record and I will say that all of these resolutions were presented at 2:30 this afternoon to the rest of the governing body, including the borough administrator. And I think there's some wording in there that, it's not that I think. So the reason I did this, because, you know, I have just as much authority and right to do so, to put a resolution in front of the council. The one that we are going to vote on right now has clear falsehoods in it. There's misinformation, and there's accusations that are made. I completely disagree with it. If everybody remembers the meeting that Mr. Underhill was here, and he so graciously offered to come in and act as the borough administrator within the time frame that, you know, he didn't ask for any more money. He was basically volunteering his time to help the borough out. And he knew he wasn't going to. He knew he wasn't going to be reappointed. It's not like he thought he was gonna, you know, he was gonna get, because he knew that downstairs was frozen.
You talk about this paragraph, you basically took this paragraph out?
Pardon me?
You basically took this paragraph out? Here? This is the new one that you.
This is a new one. I took out the falsehoods that were in there.
I don't think that paragraph should be in there, I agree with you.
So, here, did you see the new one?
I think the new one is acceptable.
And
I would recommend to the council, I've seen both, I think
well, I'm
take this
going
paragraph
to.
out, the mayor's is sufficient, legally sufficient to do the appointment. And I actually I agree with you. I can't point to a particularized legal reason. It's just not a best practice to put that in there.
Well, yeah,
So I agree with you.
like I said, I thought it was added, you know, it may be an attempt to, you know, make an attempt to not award Mr. Underhill his compensation, which he's entitled to under the law, by maybe making some accusations. But two parts here. One is, if anybody's familiar with MEL. Anybody in municipal government knows what MEL is. MEL is municipal excess liability. They present us with an employee manual policy handbook. If Mr. Underhill was not awarded this and chose to sue the borough for his time that he is entitled to, I'm just taking a shot. I've dealt with Mel on a few other cases, and you know, my opinion is that Mel would say, "Did you follow your policy on hiring in Neptune City?" And my answer would have to be, "No, we did not." Mel may tell us that when you lose, you can pay all fees out of tax dollars, not from insurance. So that being one reason. So that was one of my recommendations. And the second is, you know, I'm going to welcome Mr. Russell in as our I believe that's Mr. Russell back there. I would welcome him in as a borough administrator, competent, capable of doing the job. And I know he, as a professional, if it was me, I wouldn't want the verbiage that's in that resolution to be on the resolution that I get hired under. So I'll leave it to you guys.
Well,
You can
I would
make-
recommend
So we have a recommendation.
That the council adopt
I will re-offer my motion to amend the agenda.
it's just for.
Can we do that while we're in the motion?
Oh, have we moved and seconded the
I
1944?
moved and seconded.
Okay, so would someone, please withdraw their motion, the original motion? I'm sorry, Mr. Andre, who made the original
Mr.
motion?
Calhoun made the original.
All right, so I'll withdraw.
So motion is withdrawn, and then Mr. Woodell, you're reoffering let's call it amended 1944, or mayor's amended 1944-44.
Could we amend just to strike the one phrase in the fourth paragraph, given the prior administrator's refusal to assist the borough council and its
Yeah,
administrative search?
well, let's not read it out loud.
Yeah.
Could we
all of that.
Strike
Right.
that one?
No, no, no.
Yeah, just to strike that, just to strike that
Read the one that I
paragraph.
gave you?
We're just approving that one.
The one I gave you is actually just hiring the new borough administrator. It's not
It just takes out
trying
the
to degrade
superfluous lines.
anybody else. That's what the new one is.
Has anything else been changed within it, or just that one paragraph?
Just that
removed?
paragraph.
Anything
There's
regarding,
there's two other small grammatical changes that aren't really
they do
relevant to
not
the
affect
purpose.
the,
Yeah.
the outcome of the resolution.
Then I would just move to make that, take out that one paragraph, not to revise anything else. Is that sufficient? Is everybody-
All right, so we have two motions on the table. We have a motion
I
to
don't know
accept.
what the other one is.
Well, to amend the resolution differently than we amended it. I'm not sure there's any.
What are they putting in there?
The
Just to
first
strike the fourth paragraph. So here, it's just very difficult to do when we can't read it out loud. If it's super
Well,
close.
I'd also like to.
So, long story short, you got a revision too?
Well, yeah, because I don't, this like this part here, because he didn't, this is not true.
What's that?
Resignation,
Oh.
Yeah, well, he changed that, okay.
Yeah, that's, he, yeah,
All right.
that's not there.
I also don't want the borough
So I
council-
think, all right, hold on.
He actually advertised, he did all the
Yes.
advertising, he actually notified the legal municipalities,
Alright,
there's
alright.
emails that
And I also don't
represent
like
that.
this as the borough council.
All right, on the merit.
Those are,
Search that.
All right.
That's what I do, so I'm not-
just do this one.
All right.
Brian gets
Not
hired.
even, not in Mr. Zajac. We are on the council, certainly, whether we might be in the minority, but we are on the council, we have a right to be notified of information. You were never not privy to it.
All right.
I never liked it, but you were never.
All right, guys,
denied
let's-
information.
Where do we stand, guys?
Let's,
Call question.
I'm running the meeting, Mr. Calhoun, you're all right. Okay, so, but we did not do that. This did not happen. I'm sorry, that shouldn't be right. The borough council did not conduct its own search in the system. The borough council did not.
This is
do
your
that.
resolution.
I know, but that's maybe my,
What do you want to say?
but yeah, we can just take that whole section out too. We just appoint him. We don't have to say
All
any
right,
of that
I'm
stuff.
okay with that.
It's not true, so I don't.
Hey, simple is okay with me. Simple makes
I
it
missed-
easier.
I missed that one.
Least common denominator, I think,
Alright.
is where we'll reach a lot here over the course of the year.
Okay.
All right, so, this would be the resolution. And this is the, as amended. So resolution 1944 as amended, and if, Mr. Woodell, if you'll allow me, we will make this your motion
Okay.
to offer the amended resolution. It says, whereas the Borough of Neptune City requires the services of a Borough Administrator, Deputy Clerk, and Treasurer, and whereas the Borough Council of the Borough of Neptune City had already received responses to a previously authorized advertisement for Borough Administrator, and whereas Brian Russell, RPPS QPA, appears best qualified to serve as Borough Administrator, Deputy Borough Clerk, and Treasurer for the Borough of Neptune City, now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Neptune City that the Borough Council hereby appoints Brian Russell as Borough Administrator, Deputy Clerk, and Treasurer, and a certified copy of this resolution will be forwarded to the Mayor, CFO, and Brian Russell. That's pretty straightforward. Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
And that's offered by Mr. Wardell,
I'll second that.
second by Ms. Lewis.
Do you have a clean copy of this? Since I wrote all over it. Can I borrow that one?
Yes.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Renee,
Yes.
Mr. Wardell,
Abstention.
Mr. Costa,
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun.
Yeah. Resolution's adopted. Congratulations.
Mayor, thank you. Mayor and Council, thank you very much for your vote this evening. For all of you, my name is Brian Russell. I have been the BA for the Borough of Roselle up in Union County. I've been there for 7 years. I was the purchasing agent there. I was the assistant BA for almost 5 years, 6 years, and then I did 1 year as the BA and finishing up there actually today. Just for all you to know, I am an open door person. I can't wait to start working with all of you, plus the staff here in Neptune City. I really am an energetic and happy person that really wants to get off the ground here with you guys and work well with all of you. I can't wait to start meeting with you, so you get to get to know me, and I get to know all of you as well. And I just, again, I can't wait to start, and I want to thank you all for your vote of confidence tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, welcome. Okay, why don't you hold it?
I'll hold it.
And actually make a new one and give it to me.
I can do that. All right. Done.
Because I'm not gonna. That's not,
No problem.
that's not my job. Okay. Mr. Underhill?
Resolution to appoint 2019 Class 3 Land Use Board appointment. The appointment would be for Ms. Renee as the council member.
Would somebody like to offer that?
So offered?
Offered by Ms. Lewis,
Second.
second by Mr. Kosis. Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Wardell.
Yes.
Mr. Kosis.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun.
Yes.
Ms. Renee.
Yes.
Resolution's adopted.
Appointment of governing body volunteer liaison appointments. Board of Education, Councilperson Michelle Lewis. Veterans Liaisons Harry Conover Senior, Robert Johnson, and Ronald Biggs.
Would somebody like to offer that?
I'll offer resolution number 19-46.
Offered by Ms. Renee,
Second.
second by Mr. Kosis. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Renee.
Yes.
Mr. Wardell.
Yes.
Mr. Kosis.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun.
Yes.
Resolution's adopted, thank you. Just before we go into public participation, I want to publicly thank Mr. Underhill for his time here in Neptune City. He's done a very good job, very professional, and he's been doing, I think, 39 years. Very knowledgeable, and again, I can't thank him enough for all the knowledge he gave me and the help that he gave this governing body. So I want to thank you and wish you the best.
Thank you, Mayor.
Now it's public participation. Public participation for any and all items. Does anyone from the public wish to be heard? Yes.
Yeah, Arlene Sharapa, 14 Tucker Drive. Could you just clarify or for me the difference between the one engineer and the special projects engineer, what their responsibilities are?
I'm going to assume that they're, because again, I was given this at 2:30 this afternoon. I would assume and that, Avakian has a few projects that are going on in town right now. And for another firm to pick those up and try and keep going with them would cost the borough a lot more money, because they would have to do a lot of footwork and would, it would be good for the new engineering firm, but not so good for Neptune City. So that's really to let Avakian finish the projects that they have that they've already started.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Brian McGrath. I know it's early, but has the council given any thought of sharing services with other boroughs?
What we do share services.
No, what I mean is
It would be depending-
combining.
It is not on the, as a discussion right now. It's not
Thank
been
you.
brought to me. On any other combining of services, no.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I just want to take a minute, I was just gonna recognize the Freehold Director, and speaking of, sharing services, the borough, we share many services with Monmouth County. And, Freeholder knows, anything I can get out of the county for free, or a extremely discounted price, he knows we'll do it, from repairs on our loader to radios in our police cars. The county's always there to help us, and Freeholder Arnone's always there to assist.
Which will continue.
Thank you. Yes.
So I came in late, and so the appointments here are obviously, we're in a world where this is absolutely fine. That's the way life is in our political world, and your council knows that. I know your council very well. You will do a fine job there. We work together. I spoke to your administrator, your new administrator today. He's gonna do a job. That's the world we live in. Party switch, I go through it 53 times. I hear tons of people. We're gonna take off the freeholder hat and put on the part of being a former mayor and council person and having the background of 53 towns. I hear some of the information that is said to me on both sides, on the side of my Republican side and the side of Democrat, misinformation totally. Totally inaccurate, as you see tonight when you're drafting resolutions that are not done professionally, not done with any knowledge, okay? Take your professionals' experience and knowledge and let them run the show. Take nothing away from the people that are sitting up there, the newer ones, the ones that have maybe a little more experience on it, because they've been sitting there, okay? And use them. Don't make decisions that you're making. I've heard decisions about, and this isn't directed to you, Pam, about what a council president is. Well, on Saturday, I'm holding a seminar for all elected officials at Brookdale. I think we're up to 100. So obviously they have some faith in what I'm about to say. The part of what a council president, the Faulkner Act, the weak mayor, there's no such thing as a weak mayor and a strong mayor. It's a borough form of government with weak mayor, and it's not a weak mayor form of government. It's not a strong mayor form of government. If you look at the statute, it's a borough form of government with those two types of bodies. Those two types of bodies, even a weak mayor form of government, has certain, and I sat there for 8 years. I sat there and I knew the rules that I could guideline under and the rules of my governing body. What a council president does, what a council president has no authority to do. Same authority as that side of the table has the same authority as that side of the table, whether you're a council president, whether you're a vice president. It doesn't matter. You have the same authority there, okay? If that seat is empty, that seat gets filled by that person, whoever it is that's elected. It's the only thing that it does in meetings. The one thing I would like to see change here in Neptune City, listen, I've lived here 56 years, probably longer than each and every one of you, all put together, okay, here. And maybe not Bob. Well, Andrew's getting a little older now, so maybe not. But with that being said, there's problems. There's problems, and and I know we have former board members here. The way that school was regulated with the misinformation that was not, and I don't blame you guys for that, like maybe some of the people that led situations there was totally inaccurate. I sat in that seat. We have people here in this audience that know the past history. Let's go forward, okay? Let's move forward, because guess what? Sitting there seeing 52 other towns talk so negatively about the town I live in is a disgrace. And that's all I hear throughout Monmouth County, and it's a disgrace. There's one appointment I'm gonna ask, because I didn't see it, and I would never contest one of your appointments, because it's your right. You sit up there. But I wanna know who you appointed to be, because appointments are appointments. It's a recreation board, whatever the boards are, they're gonna do the best. But there's one appointment that's very important, because it's life safety and having the background and knowledge. Who was appointed to the OEM director?
I appointed Edmund Zakarowski.
Thank you. Because I heard some information out there that I will tell you, I would have been here front and center. That would not have happened for these people here in Neptune City, because it would have been a disservice for if that did happen. So I'm happy to hear that. I see Ed back here. Congratulations. But I also will say that after I heard information that Neptune City was not compliant, you run under the guidelines of Monmouth County. So I have the authority to go to Mike Opegard and ask him and look at our compliance. We are totally 100% compliant. Actually, we're more compliant than half of the towns in Monmouth County with our information and data. So the misinformation, because you know what? The residents should not feel that they're living in unsafe conditions or not being prepared properly. Closing. Neptune City comes first. Put everything else aside. Listen, I got elected on a county position that nobody knew Neptune City. The one thing they knew, it was operating properly, and it was operating right, not by me, by a full group of volunteers, employees, and elected officials. Continue that, all right? Start new here and make it work, okay? Be back to what Neptune City is. You'll disagree, but disagree behind that closed door or disagree downstairs behind a closed door. Don't disagree up here, okay? Because you're a reflection of the whole town. And I just want to wish you good luck and make Neptune City what it was before. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard?
Is it Arlene Chirapa, 14 Tucker Drive? If I can bring up the Nylabone issue one last time, and especially since Mr. Arnone is here, and I heard that you're doing a wonderful job in Neptune with the landfill situation over there.
I don't know about that. I'll take that 10 falls.
But if you could somehow help us out with this problem that we're having in town, because the smell is really nothing's, whatever they said they're doing, I don't think that they're doing, because we're still smelling it.
So the good thing about it is, truthfully, I mean, it's kind of luck. As everybody knows, I had 400 people at a meeting that we held. Senator Gopal and myself held a public meeting on Monday night at Hamilton, and it's a big issue. We got a problem. Maybe it's partially the county's fault on the way we designed, and the landfill is something that each and every one of our garbages go to, okay? And there's 4 phases of that. This phase is up along Shaft Hill Road. So because of, believe it or not, the heavy rains and all that, it's created a very bad situation. We have brought in professionals like you can't imagine to remedy this. Some of them are air type quality fresheners or whatever they call them. Okay, that we're going to be working with from Monday to Thursday next week. I will also give the mayor and council that information when we hear that, because I had a guy fly in from California. I don't know what is going to come about from it. He strictly deals with, you know, odors that are somewhat difficult to deal with in municipalities, but I might have a little bit more knowledge for you later on. Not that I wanted to have the knowledge for you, because it has been extremely difficult the last 2 weeks. So, but with that, maybe Neptune City will gain from it, and we'll get somebody there that will help.
Great, thanks, Tom.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I need a motion to adjourn.
So offered, Mayor.
Offered by Mr. Wardell.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Lewis. All in favor?
Aye.
Those who want to stay? Thank you, everyone.
Nodding your head. You're in presentation.